those that are dragging the name of the profession to the mud. Of course, talking about quackery, those who have refused to, allow themselves to be subjected to the rigorous training, of course, that will enable them to practice. License. That will enable them to get the license from Medical and Dental Council to practice the profession. And to look at this, I have with me the General Secretary, Nigerian Medical Association, Dr. Yusuf Tanko Sulunu. Very good morning to you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Doctor, this is an age-long battle, to eradicate or completely eliminate quackery in the practice of medical services. Now, how far has that gone?
Well, first of all, let me start by thanking the management of ITB for finding NMA worthy to be invited to this very important program, which will highly enlighten the general populace in terms of their health care needs. This is a wonderful commendation, and I commend your effort on this regard. Now, the issue of quackery and practice itself is a worrisome development, because quackery has caused loss of life, incapacitations, and what have you in the country. And it's also both financial, it has financial implications, because at long run, after patronizing a quack, you end up seeing a medical practitioner. So this has really disturbed not only the Nigerian Medical Association, but actually every Nigerian is either in one way or the other affected. So it affected the generality of our public. Now, when we came into power barely 2 years ago, we now thought, what are the ways that we think at least we can make a positive impact in terms of reduction of quackery? Because to say that an organization will eliminate quackery completely, especially in our own country, whereby you find that a lot of regulatory bodies have one hindrance or the other to make them perform maximally. So elimination may not be really an immediate target. But we want to see how we can reduce the quackery to the barest minimum. And to that effect, we thought, I think...
So what are the modalities now for eliminating quackery in the medical profession?
Well, in the nature of medical quackery in medical profession, you have to look at the Medical and Dental Practitioners Act, Medical Code of Ethics. All these are there to checkmate the practice. And then you also find that under the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria, there is what we call monitoring committee. This monitoring committee is supposed to comprise the Director of Medical Services of each state, and then the members of Nigerian Medical Association, who now goes round to ensure that whoever is practiced in a particular state is licensed and is qualified to practice within that fiscal year. But you find that most of the monitoring committee now are not really functional, because I think I can recall...
But the committee is still there.
Yes, it still is.
So why are they not functional?
The committee needs to be inaugurated. I can remember now that in the last few months, Katsina State specifically the state governor has inaugurated the committee, and is also ready to fund the committee. And I think I also heard that states like Kebbi are also working towards inaugurating of the monitoring committee, so that this inauguration, when you inaugurate, you empower them, they drive their fund and funding so that they can do their activities. They also receive support from Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria so that they can go around to checkmate this thing. Then as association on our own also, we now sat down through our National Executive Council meeting, an annual general meeting, and came, look, this is really disturbing. What on our own part can we do to assist the government? Because in one of our core values and objectives is to see how we can assist the government of Nigeria and people of Nigeria to get the highest qualitative medical care that they deserve, and also to ensure that we have a higher ethical standard. So we now came, we thought, okay, with this now, let us develop. We now came with concept of doctor stamp. This is a stamp that is meant to only be issued to genuine medical practitioners. Now, when you have that stamp, we expect that all medical legal correspondence emanating from doctors must carry that stamp. And when this started, it was deliberated at the National Executive Council, as earlier said, and then the General Annual Delegate Meeting. We seek for the approval and it was endorsed. And let me say gladly that the Honorable Minister of Health was there physically to launch that stamp in August 2017 in Kaduna during our National Executive Council meeting. And also the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria, which is the regulatory body of medical practice in Nigeria, also endorses the stamp. So the stamp now came into being.
Now, with that stamp, if we have people who are not qualified to practice and they still practice, what is the big deal with the stamp? Don't you think that stamp can be falsified and the business of quackery will continue on a bit?
Well, I think the issue of falsifying the stamp is we cannot, in terms of duplicating things in Nigeria and all over now, especially with development of high tech, you cannot emulate that possibility. But this stamp has a features that really we thought that with those features, it's unlikely for it to be easily faked. For example, now, if you are to remove that stamp, for example, let me show you the sample of the stamp for the general public to know, so that we can. This, for example, this is a sample of a stamp for a doctor. It came out as a plain paper. You can see it, no personalization. So the idea of how to personalize it is not with the printer, it's with Nigerian Medical Association, because we know our members and we have stages of trying to see that.
Okay, now what category of quacks are you going to fish out? There are those who are qualified, licensed by Medical and Dental Council.
Yes.
But when they give you results, maybe test results, or when they prescribe, you just, when you take it to some other, medical expert, they tend to query the prescription.
Now that is,
it appears that is not from a medical doctor, and to an extent they see that as a result from a quack. So yeah. What category of quacks are we fighting? Those who don't have the license, or those who have the license and their performance as if they are also.
You see, you cannot have a license practice and registered with Medical Council of Nigeria and now be addressed as a quack. You are not a quack. That doctor is not a quack. But you can say maybe you can allege a malpractice. And such, it has to be proven by the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria, and such doctor will also be subjected to punitive measures as enshrined in the Code of Medical Ethics. You understand? So for those who are not registered with Medical and Dental Council and they don't have required qualification and parading themselves as doctors at the target. You understand? And we do believe that with measures we are putting in place, nobody who is not registered to practice will get this stamp. How do you come about that, and why do we have the assurance? One, it is a multi-stage process of obtaining the stamp. What I mean by multi-stage? First of all, you must apply from your state chairman, who knows his members within the state. Now, once you have passed that screening and you are sure that you are this thing, you must also present him your full registration. You must also present to your state chairman your license to practice for this year, the particular year you are applying. You understand? And then you must also show the evidence of payment of that year's annual dues to the practicing fee to the state chairman. You now verify that. And the chairman will now pass the list of those who he has screened to the National Secretariat of Nigerian Medical Officers Association, of which is the purview of the Secretary General, to make sure that he now go ahead to also further screen the members that were sent from the state. How do you come about that? We have a master register of Nigerian Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria that contains virtually the list of all those doctors practicing within the country. So we have to sit down diligently, follow one by one to ensure that all the doctors that are forwarded from the state are our members.
But don't you think the enemy is usurping the duties of Nigeria, Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria? They are the one charged, by the Constitution to license
You see,
qualified doctors, those who have, of course, passed the mandatory 6 years training in medical schools.
Yes.
And now, even with that license, you are saying that they cannot practice except they obtain...
I don't think so. I don't think so. Because what we are saying, we didn't say we are licenses. You understand? As an association, we have a constitution, which we do not assume that it superseded the Act of National Assembly. No. We have our own constitution. And the Constitution of Nigerian Medical Associations agrees that members can design way to protect and promote the profession in terms of welfare, service efficiency, and what have you. You understand? So what you are saying, we are not saying that we do know that the keeping of the registry of practitioners in the country, that resides with Medical Dental Council of Nigeria. And you can now see, that's why we said that for us to confirm if you are a registered member, we must refer back to what? Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria using their master register. And let me tell you one thing, we have seen a lot of benefit when we introduce this term. There are some who, for one way or the other, they were reluctant to process most of their folio number and other issues. But when the issue of this, when the issue of the stamp came up, you understand, they came forward and asked, oh, where are these particulars we are expecting? You understand? Those particulars could not be provided. And we have to also refer them back to Medical and Dental Council. And as I'm telling you now, most of those people have their issues rectified. So we are not taking the duties of Medical and Dental Council. And we also know that.
What if you have a foreign trained medical, what do you call it now?
Personnel, yes.
And he comes to Nigeria and he also passed through of course, the mandatory exam set by Medical and Dental Council for him to practice.
Yes.
And after that, he says, I don't want to be a member of NMA. I just want to do my job as a medical expert.
No, you see, you cannot, no doctor can say he don't want to be a member of NMA. And that is emanating from the Act. The NMA as an organization or as an association derives its powers from the Act that established Medical Council of Nigeria. And we are also statutory members of Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria. You understand? What to qualify you to be a member of Nigerian Medical Association is that you are a doctor registered with Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria and you have paid your annual dues, annual practicing fee. That automatically qualifies you as a member of Nigeria Medical Association, except if you commit what will now be regarded as bringing the reputation of Nigerian Medical Association down. Then now NMA will now subject you to National Disciplinary Committee, which will now investigate and find you wanting or not. And then will now provide a lot of either reprimand, suspension, expulsion, and others. And when we finally consider that you are not worthy to be a member, we now refer you to Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria for final addition. And thereby, even the Medical Council of Nigeria have their own tribunal, which is equivalent to High Court, can now pass through the process of tribunal. You pass through the process, and if you are found wanting, they may decide to punish you.
But despite all of that,
yes,
what Nigerians have noticed over the years is the fact that you have the NMA, you have the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria, but the service delivery is still epileptic.
You see, the service delivery has a lot of this thing. We know what they are like now. As Nigerian Medical Association, we have made several calls to the federal government. We have made several calls, we wrote, we've addressed several press interviews. In fact, we have even done a lot in terms of making the government, through the Federal Ministry of Health, to constitute the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria. As I'm telling you, right now we don't have Council of Nigeria. So if by coincidence I'm to commit a malpractice now, you cannot charge me to court. You cannot take me to... the council is not in place to try and...
Despite the board is not there, there are those...
No, the council is not there. We have the registrar there.
Yes, but
the council has a chairman. It has members. All the state's medical directors of the state are members of the council. But that council has not been constituted.
Yeah, but if you have a registrar, can he penalize any member?
No, the law did not expect that you should have medical tribunal in the absence of the council. We'll have medical investigatory panel that will now investigate cases of malpractice against a particular doctor. You understand? Once the investigation is completed, the panel has finished its work. It now refers the panel, the report to the tribunal, medical tribunal, of which the judge of that tribunal is equivalent to the rank of that is equivalent to high court. But the law says that you cannot have that tribunal and the investigatory panel in the absence of constituted counsel. And we don't have the constituted counsel. So cases are pending. Even if a doctor now commits something, you cannot stop him from practice, because the court cannot stop him. It's the council that will stop him from this thing through the process of a medical tribunal. And the tribunal is not in place. You understand? So that is the issue. So you can see a lot of issues. As doctors, as Nigerian Medical Association, if we receive a petition, we have a thing. If you write, you can write a petition to Nigerian Medical Association. And once it gets to the president or to the secretary general, the constitution assumes that petition stands. So what does the president do? I'm coming. Okay. The president now will refer it to National Disciplinary Committee. And National Disciplinary Committee will investigate and report back to the National Executive Council, and then ADM to ratify their disciplinary action. How we can do is to expel him from the distance. But we cannot stop you from practice. If we want to stop you from practice, we have to refer you to Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria. And Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria cannot also stop you because they don't have the tribunal in place.
But why is it that NMA stops at public health facilities and not private health facilities? Because in private health facilities, there are cases of, a doctor, for example, a family physician doing the work of an orthopedic surgeon.
You see, in such cases,
private health facilities, there are cases of, obstetric and gynecologist doing the job of a family physician. Why is it so? Why is NMA, so tied in terms of dealing with these issues?
No, we are not tied down. Sincerely speaking, we are not tied down. You understand? The issue of Nigerians to report to authorities, that's where you...
Even when you know, why should you wait for a report?
No, why should you say even when we know?
Yes, you know.
No, you assume you know.
Yes,
that's assumption.
No, you know.
No, it's an assumption.
But some of them are
an assumption.
Friends of enemy.
No, it's an assumption.
Yeah, because they are your friends.
It's an assumption. Let's say we assume that so person is corrupt without making a case. How many people we just bump in somebody's house? But when we see it, we act.
Even when you see it, you don't act.
No, we acted. Let me tell you, we don't protect our friends. There was a case of petitions that we have received as an organization. That petition for us to investigate cost the association almost 5 million. And it's not sponsored by the petitioner. It's not paid for by the petitioner. We, the association, paid for. And we investigated to the letter. And it's our member, and we have punished that member. And once the council is constituted, we also pass through the council.
What's the punishment?
No, I don't need to mention the punishment.
No, you need to know.
No, I told you.
Because if someone committed a heinous crime, I've already
told you that. I've already told you that we have various punishment. No, I said what? We can have suspension.
No,
so we can have reprimand. We can have reprimand.
What was the punishment?
We can have reprimand. We have suspension. We have even to the extent of expulsion. We have also suspension with payment of equivalent of annual dues for 6 months. There are people that have asked them to pay for 10 months, almost asked them to pay 200,000 added to their suspension for so month. You understand? But for us, I told you, the NMA is not legally backed to say that you cannot practice. Please let us understand that. Because people are making this wrong assumption. The only body that can stop you and delist you from practice is Medical and Dental Council.
But despite all this regulation, all these policies by MDCN, NMA, just to ensure that health service is improved, we still discover that many persons are jetting out for medical services. They are jetting out, of course, on medical tourism. Why?
You see, when you bring the issue of medical tourism, it's a lot. We tend to limit the medical tourism as facility based. No, it also has some financial backing. Some people go out for medical tourism because they can sponsor from the state, and that sponsor may give them some change in their pocket. You understand? So it is a multi-facet. You understand? That is what we need is a strong policy. But besides that, as an individual, you cannot be said, if I want to go and access care somewhere, it may be difficult for the Lord to say don't go. You understand? But less abuse is what is most important. You understand? Let me tell you one thing. There are cases that are done in Nigeria. I've heard of a case of a patient who wanted to go to India for a particular surgery. You understand? She now visited one of her relations in one of the state of the country. You understand? She developed complication of that illness. She was going for surgery. And that same surgery that she was going to do in India, around 1.something million, plus her air ticket and relation and dress, what have you. That same operation, the same type of operation surgery she's going to do, was done in that particular state at rate of 35,000. And the family were surprised.
That's interesting.
The family were surprised.
Very interesting.
Because we have what we call keyhole surgery now. Surgery that you don't need to cut. You just put your camera through hole. Minimal access surgery. Yes, that's right. So you understand? They are available. And this is what people are doing. Are going out because of cosmetic value and short hospitals and others. You understand? So, but people don't know that it's available in the country.
You are saying that we have the personnel and equipment
we have to
match our foreign...
no, we have the personnel, but for equipment to match, that's what I cannot say. You understand? Because for this particular surgery that I'm saying, how many hospitals in the country can do it? There are very few in the public-based hospital. Most of them are in private. But public-based, you cannot count more than 5 or 6 or 10. You understand? In the country of almost 170-something million. So if you have only 5 or 6 facilities that are really functional, you can't say you have adequate. But what I'm saying that Nigerian doctors are capable, and this is attested worldwide.
I'm very sure of that.
I'm sure of that. Because Nigerian doctors are the most highly sought in the world. You can see that the number of people now that are moving out, especially to Europe and America, that have the standard of care from Nigeria on daily basis is even alarming, that even the Federal Ministry of Health considers it as a challenge and a concern. Just looking at this, and most of these people are not going there because of what financial or greener pursuit, but they just want to establish their maximum capacity. They just famous celebrated a doctor that operated a baby in the uterus and then returned it, and finally later on the woman was delivered. Is he an American? He's a Nigerian. You understand? So we have a lot.
I must thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, sir.
It has been with Dr. Yusuf Tanko Sununu, the General Secretary, Nigerian Medical Association. We'll be looking at how the association can deal with the issue of quackery in medical profession. Well, we just hope that with the seal that has been introduced by the NMA, it will go a long way in tackling that. Once again, many thanks for coming on the show. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we shall be looking at 2019 election and the continued delay in terms of declaration by the President Muhammadu Buhari. When we come back, that will be on.